The tango music fills the Manhattan penthouse. A professional dancer just twisted her ankle, and the performance is over. The crowd murmurs in disappointment. Harrison Blackwell grabs the microphone. His eyes land on a black woman refilling champagne glasses. "You there. Gray uniform." 200 guests turn. She freezes. "I saw you swaying to the music. Do you dance?" "Sir, I'm working." "That's not what I asked. Do you dance?" Her voice drops. "I used to. Long ago." He walks toward her, stands too close, speaks into the microphone for everyone to hear. "Perfect. If you dance this tango, I'll marry you." He pauses. "One dance, you go from serving drinks to sharing my bed. That's the American dream, isn't it?" Laughter spreads through the room. He pulls out a $20 bill, holds it high, then drops it at her feet. "Your tip in advance. Now pick it up and show us what you've got." Have you ever been humiliated for the work you do? This is what happened next. Her name is Elena Vasquez, and 6 hours ago she was scrubbing bathroom tiles in a midtown office building. That's what most people don't see when they look at someone in a uniform. They don't see the alarm that went off at 4:45 this morning in a studio apartment in Washington Heights. They don't see the 2 subway transfers in the dark, the coffee from a bodega that's more sugar than caffeine because it's cheaper that way. They don't see the extra pair of stockings in her bag because the one she's wearing will probably tear on a subway grate before the night is over. They see the uniform. That's all. Elena is 35 years old. She works for Elite Events NYC, a hospitality staffing company that sends people like her to serve people like the ones in this penthouse. Tonight's event is special. Triple overtime. A charity gala for some tech billionaire named Harrison Blackwell. The coordinator had been clear during the briefing. Blend in. Be invisible. Do not engage with guests unless they speak to you first. Do not make eye contact. Do not offer opinions. You are here to serve, not to exist. Elena nodded. She always nods. Nodding keeps you employed. The penthouse itself is something out of a magazine she'd never buy. 50 floors above Central Park, floor-to-ceiling windows that turn the city into a carpet of light. Crystal chandeliers that probably cost more than she makes in a year, maybe 5 years. The air smells like money. Expensive perfume. Orchids in crystal vases. The metallic tang of silver serving trays. Even the champagne smells expensive, like it's too good to actually drink. The orchestra sits in the corner playing Piazzolla. Libertango. She recognizes it instantly, the way you recognize a song from childhood. Her feet want to move. They always do it when there's tango music, but she keeps them still. Invisible people don't dance. Her uniform is gray polyester that doesn't breathe. It came from a supply closet and fits badly. Too tight in the shoulders, too loose in the waist. The shoes are half a size too small. They're the only pair left when she picked up her assignment this morning. By hour 3, her feet had started to swell. By hour 6, every step felt like walking on glass. There's a name tag pinned over her heart. Elena. Just the first name. Last names aren't necessary for people who refill drinks. She carries her mother's shoes in her work bag. Red suede tango heels, worn at the heels, wrapped carefully in tissue paper. She's carried them every day for 3 years since her mother died. She doesn't know why. They're impractical. They take up space. But leaving them at home feels like abandoning something sacred. Her mother used to say, "Mija, those shoes have more miles on them than most people's dreams." Elena was born in Buenos Aires. Her father, Miguel Vasquez, taught tango at a milonga in San Telmo. Not the tourist kind. The real kind, where old men danced with their wives and young couples learned the language of the embrace. He started teaching Elena when she was 4 years old, not because he wanted her to perform, because tango was how their family spoke. By the time she was 11, she'd won 7 regional youth championships across South America. Her father used to joke that she had the discipline of a Swiss watchmaker and the passion of a Buenos Aires street musician. Perfect tango, he'd say. The plan was Juilliard, New York, dance program, professional career. Her father had been saving. Her mother took extra shifts as a seamstress. Elena practiced 6 hours a day after school. Then her father died. Heart attack. Suddenly, he was 42. Her mother made the decision fast. We are going to America. Your father's dream for you doesn't die with him. They immigrated when Elena was 12. Everything changed. Her mother worked 3 jobs. Elena tried to keep dancing, but studios in New York cost money they didn't have. She practiced alone in their apartment, learning steps from YouTube videos, dancing in the kitchen while her mother sewed at the table. 6 months after they arrived, her mother got sick, the kind of sick that doesn't get better. Cancer, no insurance, treatment costs that multiplied faster than they could count. Elena dropped out of high school at 16, started working, cleaning jobs, restaurant work, anything that paid cash. She told herself it was temporary, just until her mother got better. Her mother didn't get better. The medical debt from her final year is $47,000. Elena has been paying it down for 3 years, $200 a month, every month, watching the number shrink so slowly it feels like pushing a mountain. She also sends money to her younger brother in Miami. He's finishing college. Someone in the family should get to complete their education. She lives in a 400-square-foot studio that she shares with cockroaches and the ghost of every dream she used to have. The bathroom is down the hall, shared with 3 other tenants. She hasn't bought new clothes in 18 months. The dress she wears on days off has a stain on the hem she can't get out. She takes hospitality gigs like tonight's because the tips can be good. Rich people feeling generous. Sometimes a guest will slip her an extra $50. That's 2 weeks of groceries. That's another payment on the debt. Tonight is especially important. Triple overtime means she'll make $800. That's 2 months of debt payments. That's breathing room. That's being able to afford the medication she's been rationing because the pharmacy keeps raising prices. She cannot afford to lose this job. The coordinator had pulled her aside before the event started. I've worked with you before, Elena. You're reliable. But tonight's client is particular. No mistakes. No interactions. If anything goes wrong, you're not just off this gig. You're off our roster. Understood? Elena had understood. Now she's standing in the middle of the ballroom with 200 people staring at her and a $20 bill at her feet. The orchestra is still playing. The tango music wraps around her like a memory. She can feel her father's hands on her shoulders, adjusting her posture. Chest up, mija. In tango, we don't apologize for taking up space. But that was a different life. That was before she learned that taking up space has consequences. Her hands are shaking, not from fear, from calculation. If she refuses, Blackwell will be embarrassed. Men like him don't forget embarrassment. He'll complain to the agency. She'll lose tonight's pay and every future gig. Alternative jobs pay 40% less. She'd lose her apartment within 2 months. End up back where her mother was, drowning, gasping for air. If she tries to dance and fails, she becomes entertainment. The laughingstock. The maid who thought she could. Proof that people should stay in their place. If she tries and succeeds, what then? Does anything actually change? Or does she just become a viral video, a feel-good story people share and forget? The music plays. Her feet remember the rhythm. Muscle memory is a stubborn thing. She looks at the $20 bill on the floor. Such a small amount of money to someone like Harrison Blackwell. Pocket change, a tip for the coat check. For Elena, it's 2 days of food. It's the copay on a doctor's visit she's been postponing. It's the difference between making rent on time and making rent late. That's what people don't understand about humiliation. It's not always about pride. Sometimes it's about math. Harrison Blackwell didn't get to this penthouse by being quiet. He's 48 years old, 6'2", with silver hair that probably costs $200 to maintain. His tuxedo is custom Tom Ford. The watch on his wrist is Swiss, the kind that doesn't show the price because if you have to ask, you can't afford it. It costs more than Elena makes in a year. He knows this. He likes knowing this. He's the CEO of Blackwell Industries, a company that builds AI automation systems. The irony isn't lost on anyone paying attention. He made his fortune creating technology that replaces workers. Low-skill workers, he calls them. People in uniforms. People like Elena. His net worth is $3.2 billion. Forbes put him on the cover 3 months ago with the headline, "The Future of Work." The article talked about efficiency, optimization, streamlining labor costs. It didn't talk about the 40,000 people his systems put out of work last year. Tonight's event is his charity gala, supporting urban workforce development. That's what the invitation said. The ticket price was $5,000 per person. The money goes to programs that retrain displaced workers. Workers his company displaced. He gives with one hand what he takes with the other, and somehow people call him generous. He doesn't walk through the party. He moves through it. There's a difference. People step aside before he reaches them. His personal assistant follows 3 steps behind, holding his phone like it's a sacred object. His PR manager circles the room, making sure every conversation goes well, every photo looks right. 2 bodyguards stand in opposite corners, invisible until they need to be visible. When Blackwell talks, he touches people. A hand on the shoulder, a grip on the arm. It's not friendly, it's territorial. This is my space. You're in it, because I allow it. His voice carries. He's used to being heard, used to people listening even when he's not saying anything worth hearing. Earlier in the evening, he'd snapped his fingers at Elena. Actual fingers, like calling a dog. When she came over, he'd called her sweetheart and asked if she spoke English. She'd responded in perfect, unaccented English. He looked surprised, then annoyed, like she'd broken some unspoken rule by being articulate. Throughout the night, he makes jokes. Casual observations, he calls them. We've automated manufacturing, maybe services next, though I suppose some jobs require the human touch. He says this while looking directly at the catering staff. People laugh, the kind of laugh that's more about status than humor. He mispronounces Spanish names on the guest list. When someone corrects him, he laughs it off. These names, right? So complicated. He doesn't try to get them right. Trying would acknowledge that it matters. The people around him enable it. Charles Worthington, a board member who made his money in real estate, claps Blackwell on the back. Harrison tells it like it is. That's why we love him. A cluster of young tech entrepreneurs laugh at every comment, phones out, hoping to be noticed. They need his investment. They'll laugh at anything. But there's one person who doesn't laugh. Sophia Carter is 65 years old, a retired dance critic who spent 40 years reviewing performances for the New York Times. She's wearing a black dress that's elegant without trying. She's here because Blackwell's ex-wife asked her to come. They're old friends. She watches him from across the room with the kind of expression that suggests she's keeping score of everything wrong with this evening. When Blackwell makes another comment about the help, Sophia's jaw tightens. She doesn't say anything, not yet, but she's paying attention. The shift happens when the tango music starts. The orchestra begins playing Piazzolla, and something changes in Blackwell's face. His smile gets thinner. His hand grips his glass a little tighter. A guest leans over and mentions his ex-wife. Didn't Maria open a dance studio in Soho? I heard it's doing really well. Blackwell's expression goes flat. Dancers. All passion, no practicality. She couldn't balance a checkbook if her life depended on it. The comment is bitter, raw. It tells you everything you need to know. He met Maria in Buenos Aires on a business trip 12 years ago. She was performing at a milonga. He was mesmerized. Within 6 months, they were married. He thought he was buying into something exotic, sophisticated, a trophy wife with rhythm. What he didn't expect was that she had opinions, ambition, a career she wouldn't give up to make him comfortable. The divorce was finalized 8 months ago. She kept the studio. He kept everything else. In his mind, he won. But every time someone mentions her success, the wound reopens. Now, watching the professional tango dancers perform, his jaw clenches. When the female dancer twists her ankle and the performance ends early, he sees an opportunity. Not for art, for control. That's when he notices Elena near the service entrance. She's clearing glasses, but her body is swaying, just slightly, her foot tapping in time with the music. He sees it, and something clicks in his mind. A way to entertain his guests. A way to prove a point. A way to take back control of the evening. He grabs the microphone. The professional dancers take their bow. The woman is limping, helped off the floor by her partner. The performance is over, cut short. The guests are disappointed. They paid $5,000 a ticket for a full show. Harrison Blackwell stands near the bar, watching. The orchestra continues playing softly, filling the awkward silence. That's when he sees her. Elena is near the kitchen entrance, holding empty glasses. She's not watching the injured dancer. She's listening to music. Her eyes closed for just a second. Her head moves with the rhythm. Her foot taps the marble floor. She doesn't realize anyone is watching. Blackwell does. The evening needs saving. The guests are restless. And here's this woman in a uniform, swaying to tango music like she knows something. He picks up the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, we've lost our entertainment for the evening. But I think we might have found a replacement. He's looking directly at Elena. 200 pairs of eyes follow. She freezes. The tray in her hands suddenly weighs 1,000 pounds. You there, gray uniform. She turns slowly. Sir, I should get back to... I saw you, swaying to the music, tapping your foot. He walks toward her. The crowd parts. Do you dance? I used to, sir, a long time ago. Used to. He turns to the crowd, repeating her words like they're funny. She used to dance. Isn't that interesting? Some people laugh. Others look uncomfortable. Tell me, where does someone in your position learn to dance? Argentina, sir. Argentina! He says it too loud. Of course. The tango. We have an authentic Argentine maid who knows tango. What are the odds? The way he says authentic makes her skin crawl. Sophia Carter steps forward. Harrison, leave her alone. She's working. He waves her off. No, Sophia. We're here for charity, for giving opportunities. He turns back to Elena. Here's what I'm thinking. Our dancers are out. We have an orchestra. We have a woman who used to dance. Why not give her a chance? Someone in the crowd says, I'd love to see real Argentine tango. The energy shifts. Curiosity. Boredom looking for entertainment. Blackwell senses the momentum. Dance one tango with me, right here, right now. And if you're good, if you really impress everyone... He pauses. I'll marry you. The room erupts. Gasps. Laughter. Shocked murmurs. If you dance this tango, I'll marry you. He makes sure everyone hears. One dance. You go from cleaning my floors to sharing my life. That's social mobility. That's the American dream. More laughter ripples through the crowd. Elena's face burns. I really should. What's the matter? Not good enough? Or maybe you were lying. Maybe you were just pretending, putting on airs. The phrase lands like a slap. Charles Worthington calls out, $50,000. If she dances, I'll match your charity donation. The crowd murmurs approval. Now there's money involved. See? Blackwell spreads his arms. $50,000 for one dance. That's more than you make in a year. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out his wallet, removes a $20 bill. Hold it high so everyone can see. Consider this in advance. He drops it. The bill flutters down, lands at her feet. Pick it up, someone whispers. Just dance, another voice says. It's for charity. But this isn't about charity. This is theater. She's the performer. They're the audience. And Blackwell is orchestrating her humiliation for entertainment. The event coordinator is watching from the corner, her expression clear. Don't make a scene. Don't cost us this client. Elena's co-workers stand frozen. One mouth, don't do it. But what choice does she have? Refuse, and Blackwell will be embarrassed. Men like him don't forget. She'll lose tonight's pay, future gigs, the $800 she desperately needs. Accept, and she becomes a spectacle. Win or lose, she's the joke. The orchestra waits. The crowd murmurs. 200 people watching, waiting, judging. Elena stares at the $20 bill on the polished marble. Her reflection stares back. Two versions of herself. The one in this uniform. The one she used to be. The music has stopped. The silence is crushing. Blackwell leans toward the microphone, eyes locked on her. So what's it going to be? Do you have the courage? Or should we all go back to our drinks and you go back to where you belong? The challenge hangs in the air. Her hands are shaking. Not from fear, from calculation, from rage, from the weight of 19 years of dreams deferred and dignity compromised, from knowing that whatever she chooses, she loses. Unless. Time does strange things when you're standing at the edge of a decision that will change everything. Elena hears her father's voice. Not a memory. Something deeper. The kind of lesson that lives in your bones. Mija, Tango is about dignity. The follower isn't subservient. She's powerful. She decides how beautiful the dance becomes. She was 7 years old when he said that, standing in their Buenos Aires kitchen, frustrated because a boy at the milonga had pushed her around the floor like she was furniture. Her father had knelt down, looked her in the eyes. Never let someone else make you small. Not in dance. Not in life. Then her mother's voice. 3 years ago, in a hospital bed, morphine making her words soft but clear. Don't hide who you are to make others comfortable. I hid. Look where it got me. Elena had held her hand. Mama, you didn't hide. You sacrificed. There's a difference between sacrifice and disappearing, Mija. I disappeared. Don't do the same. Those were among her last words. 19 years. That's how long it's been since Elena danced publicly. Her body is older now, her technique rusty. The girl who won 7 championships is buried under years of survival, exhaustion, compromise. If she fails, she confirms every prejudice in this room. She becomes the punchline. The maid who thought she was something more. If she succeeds, then what? Does anything actually change? Or does she just become a viral video people watch once and forget? But then she looks up. Sophia Carter is watching from the crowd. The retired dance critic gives a small nod. Not pity. Recognition. Like she sees something everyone else is missing. Near the kitchen entrance, Maria stands frozen. Her co-worker, her friend. Maria's face shows fear, the kind of fear that comes from a lifetime of learning to stay small, stay quiet, stay employed. Elena sees herself in that fear. And she makes a decision. Not for Harrison Blackwell, not for the crowd, not even for the $50,000 someone offered like she's a performing animal. For the girl she used to be. The one who danced because her body couldn't help it. The one who believed talent mattered more than circumstance. For her father, who taught her that dignity isn't given, It's claimed. For her mother, who told her not to disappear. Elena sets the tray down on a nearby table. Her hands don't shake anymore. Resolve has steadied them. She bends down, picks up the $20 bill, folds it precisely, once, twice, walks directly to Harrison Blackwell, holds it out. "Keep your money, Mr. Blackwell. I don't perform for tips." Her voice is quiet, but it carries. The room goes silent. "But I'll dance. Not for you. For everyone who's been told their dreams don't match their station." Gasps ripple through the crowd. Blackwell's smirk falters for half a second. Returns. Brave. Foolish, but brave. Elena reaches into her work bag, pulls out a tissue-wrapped bundle, unwraps it slowly, deliberately. Red suede Tango shoes. Women in the crowd gasp. They recognize real dance shoes when they see them. Worn leather, shaped by hours of practice. These aren't costume pieces, these are the real thing. Elena removes her ugly work shoes, slips on the red heels. They fit like memory, like coming home. She walks toward the orchestra leader. "Do you know La Comparsita?" He looks surprised. "Yes, the full version?" "The full version, no cuts." He nods slowly, respect in his eyes. Elena turns back to face Blackwell. "You'll need a partner. Or do CEOs not know how to follow a lead?" The crowd reacts, a few laughs, mostly shock at her audacity. Blackwell's face tightens. He can't back down now without losing face in front of 200 people. He forces a smile. This should be amusing. They move to the center of the floor. The crowd forms a circle around them. Elena takes the traditional tango embrace. Close, but not touching. Chest open, head high. The orchestra raises their instruments. The room holds its breath. The first note from the bandoneon cuts through the silence like a blade. La Comparsita, the most famous tango ever written. Also the most difficult. 5 minutes and 30 seconds of pure technical and emotional demand. Dancers train for years before attempting it in public. Elena hasn't danced it in 19 years. The orchestra begins, slow, mournful. The opening measures are designed to break your heart before the passion even starts. Harrison Blackwell takes the lead position, or tries to. His hand on her back is loose, dismissive. He's holding her like she's a mannequin. Like this is already a joke and he's just waiting for the punchline. Elena closes her eyes, breathes. The first step is the hardest. Her leg trembles as she moves. The crowd notices. Someone whispers. She hears it. That ripple of expectation. They want her to fail. Not all of them. But enough. Failure would confirm what they already believe. That people like her should stay in their place. Blackwell whispers, "Having second thoughts?" She doesn't answer. The music continues. Her father's voice in her head. The music tells the story. You just have to listen. She listens. Her body begins to remember. Not consciously. Deeper than that. 19 years fade away, and suddenly she's 12 years old in her father's studio, practicing the same opening sequence 1,000 times until her feet bled. Muscle memory is a strange gift. You can bury it, but you can't kill it. Her second step is steadier. The third step is sure. By the fourth, something shifts. The trembling stops. Her posture lengthens. Spine straight. Chest open. Head held with the exact pride her father demanded. You're not begging for space, mija. You're claiming it. She claims it. The tango has a secret that most people don't know. Everyone thinks the man leads. That's what it looks like from the outside. But inside the embrace, the follower is the one who decides. Through subtle pressure, through weight shifts, Through the language of the body, she tells him where to go. The best leaders know this. They listen. They respond. Harrison Blackwell is not listening. He's trying to push her around the floor, treating her like a prop. But Elena's technique is too strong. She begins to lead through the connection, through her core, through the decades of training that live in her muscle memory. He resists at first. He's supposed to be in control. That's the whole point. But her technique is undeniable. Her ochos come next. Figure-8 steps where the follower pivots and extends. They need to be sharp, precise, knife-like. Elena's are perfect. Her leg extends behind her in a straight line, toe-pointed. The line from her hip to her ankle could cut glass. A woman in the crowd gasps quietly. Sophia Carter leans forward in her seat. The music builds. The mournful opening gives way to the middle section. This is where La Comparsita shows its teeth. The tempo increases. The complexity multiplies. This is where amateur dancers fall apart. Elena doesn't fall apart. She executes a gancho, a leg hook where her leg whips up and wraps around her partner's thigh. It happens fast, sharp, and precisely. Blackwell actually stumbles slightly trying to keep up. Someone in the crowd whispers, "Did you see that?" The room is starting to pay attention. Really pay attention. This isn't a joke anymore. This isn't a maid pretending. This is something else. Elena's body is singing now. Every movement is crisp. Every extension is controlled. She's using the entire floor, navigating around the circle of people like a ship cutting through water. Her uniform skirt swirls with each turn, the gray polyester moving like it's more expensive than it is. Blackwell is sweating now. Actually working. He's having to follow her, really follow her, and it's becoming obvious to everyone watching that he's not leading this dance. She is. The music hits a dramatic pause, one beat of silence. Elena uses it. She steps into a cicada, a displacement step where she literally steps into his space, takes it from him. It's one of the most aggressive moves in tango. It says, "This is mine now." The crowd reacts. A ripple of understanding moves through them. Then she executes a bolio. Her leg whips in a circular motion, the energy traveling from her hip, through her thigh, through her calf, to her pointed toe. The movement is so fast, so controlled, that her skirt flares out like a ball gown for a split second. The tech entrepreneur in the corner lowers his phone. He was filming for social media, for the joke. Now he's filming because he's witnessing something. The orchestra plays louder. The passion section is coming. This is where La Comparsita becomes less a song and more a confession. The bandoneon cries, the violin weeps, the piano drives underneath like a heartbeat. Elena's face has changed. At the beginning she was scared, calculating, surviving. Now she's somewhere else. She's not dancing for these people anymore. She's not even dancing for herself. She's dancing for her father, who never got to see her dance in New York. For her mother, who spent her last years watching her daughter disappear into work uniforms and debt. For the girl she was at 11, standing on a stage in Buenos Aires with a trophy in her hands and the whole world ahead of her. The music drives toward its climax. This is the moment. The colgada, a hanging position where the follower leans back, completely off balance, suspended in space, held only by the counterbalance of her partner. It requires absolute trust, absolute technique. Get it wrong and you fall. Get it right and you defy gravity. Elena positions herself, shifts her weight, leans back. For 5 full seconds, she's horizontal. Her body is a perfect line from her head to her pointed red shoe, suspended in midair. The chandelier light catches her shoe, making it glow like fire. The room goes completely silent. No one breathes. Even the orchestra holds the note, sustaining it, making time stop. A single tear runs down Elena's cheek. Not sadness, Release. The kind of crying you do when something that was locked inside you finally breaks free. Blackwell's face shows something he wasn't expecting. Effort. Surprise. Maybe even respect, though he'd never admit it. Then the music explodes. The final section of La Comparsita is fire. It's passion. It's controlled chaos. The tempo accelerates. The emotional intensity multiplies. This is where championship dancers prove themselves. Elena proves herself. She executes a double gancho combination. 2 leg hooks in rapid succession. Her leg wrapping around his, then switching, then wrapping again. The precision required is extraordinary. The timing has to be perfect. Miss by a fraction of a second, and it falls apart. She doesn't miss. She flows directly into a volcata, an off-axis lean where she's nearly falling, held up only by his counterweight. But she controls it. She decides when to lean, how far, when to recover. He's just trying to keep up. The crowd isn't pretending anymore. Phones are out. People are filming. Not for mockery, for proof, for evidence that what they're seeing is real. She's professional level, someone whispers. Beyond professional, Sophia Carter says to the person next to her. That's championship technique. That's world class. The music races toward its conclusion, the final dramatic phrase, the moment that makes or breaks the entire dance. Elena spins into the final position, a deep dip, but she controls it completely. Her leg extends behind her in a perfect line. Her back arches. Her head throws back. Her red shoe points to the crystal chandelier like an exclamation point. Her face isn't triumphant. It's peaceful. Like she's finally home after a long journey. The music holds the final note, then stops. Silence. 5 full seconds of absolute silence. Elena stands slowly, steps back from Blackwell. She's breathing hard but controlled. She removes the red shoes, holds them against her chest like they're sacred. She doesn't look at Blackwell, doesn't look at the crowd. She looks at her shoes, at her mother's shoes, at the only piece of her past she managed to carry into her present. Blackwell stands in the center of the floor. His face is flushed. His hair is messed up. His tuxedo is rumpled. He's breathing like he just ran a marathon. He opens his mouth to speak. But before he can, something happens. Sophia Carter begins to clap. Slow, deliberate. Each clap echoing in the silent room. Then another person joins. Then another. Within seconds, 200 people are on their feet. The applause isn't polite. It's not obligatory. It's thunder. It's recognition. It's the sound of people who just witnessed something they'll talk about for years. Several women are crying. The orchestra members are standing, applauding their own music, but also her dancing. Professional recognition from professionals. Someone shouts, "Brava!" Someone else, "Incredible!" The sound washes over Elena like a wave. She's still holding her mother's shoes, still standing there in her gray uniform with the name tag over her heart. But something is different now. She's not invisible anymore. The applause continues. It doesn't stop. It builds. Elena stands in the center of the floor, still holding her mother's red shoes, and watches as 200 people she was serving 30 minutes ago give her a standing ovation. From her world, the reactions come fast. Maria, her co-worker, has tears streaming down her face. She's filming on her phone, hands shaking. Another server, James, is staring open-mouthed. The event coordinator stands frozen against the wall, unable to process what just happened. The kitchen staff rush to the doorway. Dishwashers, prep cooks, people who spend their shifts invisible. They're watching one of their own being seen. Really seen. Some are crying. From Blackwell's world, the reactions are different. His PR manager is typing frantically on her phone. Damage control. The board members look uncomfortable. Charles Worthington won't make eye contact with Blackwell. The young tech entrepreneurs who were laughing at every joke 30 minutes ago are now silent, some looking genuinely ashamed. Harrison Blackwell stands alone in the center of the floor while the crowd swarms toward Elena. His carefully orchestrated evening has become her celebration. He tries to smile, to regain control. Well, that was unexpected. Perhaps you should... That was the most stunning tango I've witnessed in 20 years of criticism. Sophia Carter cuts through the crowd, walks directly to Elena. Her voice is loud enough for everyone to hear. Where did you train? Elena's voice is quiet. My father, in Buenos Aires. Before he died, we came here. Your father taught you that? Sophia shakes her head in wonder. He must have been remarkable. He was just a dance instructor. Elena glances at Blackwell. People like Mr. Blackwell would probably say it wasn't a real job. The room understands the reference. Uncomfortable murmurs ripple through the crowd. Sophia's expression hardens. She turns to face Blackwell. A real job? Tell me, Harrison, what's more real? Creating something beautiful that moves people to tears? Or creating systems that put 40,000 people out of work? Someone in the crowd says quietly, Damn. Blackwell's face flushes. He tries to recover. Yes, well, a deal is a deal. About that marriage proposal. He forces a laugh. I suppose I should... I don't want charity, Mr. Blackwell. Elena's voice is steady, clear. I never did. I just wanted to be seen as a person. Turns out I didn't need your permission for that. The room goes quiet again. That particular kind of quiet that happens when someone says exactly what everyone was thinking but was too afraid to say. Elena begins to walk toward the service entrance. Wait, Sophia calls out. Elena, that is your name? Elena nods. I run the Sophia Carter Dance Foundation. We provide scholarships and teaching positions to exceptional dancers from underrepresented backgrounds. She pauses. Would you be interested in teaching? The question hangs in the air. I'm not qualified, Elena says quietly. You just performed championship-level tango in a work uniform after 19 years away from dance. Sophia's voice is firm. You're overqualified. Business cards appear. 3 other guests approach Elena. A dance studio owner, a documentary filmmaker, even one of Blackwell's board members, quietly, almost ashamed. My daughter's been wanting tango lessons. The circle around Elena grows. Questions, opportunities, recognition. Harrison Blackwell stands 15 feet away, alone. His charity gala has become someone else's triumph. His PR manager is at his elbow, whispering urgently. We need to spin this. The video is already uploaded. Hashtag Tango Maid is starting to trend. He looks at his phone. The video is everywhere, multiple angles. The comments are brutal. This is what happens when you underestimate people. CEOs really think money makes them better than everyone else. She destroyed him with grace. That's the real power move. Charles Worthington approaches, touches his arm. Harrison, I think you might have made a mistake tonight. Blackwell doesn't answer. He watches Elena surrounded by people, smiling, taking business cards, her gray uniform somehow looking less gray in this moment. He's lost control of the narrative completely, and everyone in the room knows it. 2 a.m. Elena sits on the subway heading uptown, still in her gray uniform, red tango shoes in her lap. Her phone won't stop buzzing. The video has 4.2 million views and climbing. But that's not what she's feeling. She's feeling light, like she's been carrying weight for 19 years and finally set it down. A text from Sophia Carter. Call me tomorrow. Let's talk about that teaching position. I'm serious. A text from Maria, her co-worker. You made me brave. I signed up for that writing class I've been afraid to take. Thank you. That last one makes her cry. She didn't dance for them. She danced for the girl she'd been. To tell her, I didn't forget you. The next morning, interview requests flood in. 17 by noon. She declines all but one. A small podcast run by immigrants telling their stories. That one feels right. The video keeps spreading. Comments pour in from around the world. I'm a janitor who used to paint. This made me cry. I gave up violin to work retail. Maybe it's not too late. My mom cleaned houses for 20 years. She was the best cook I ever knew. No one ever asked about her recipes. Elena becomes a symbol, hidden talent, dreams deferred, people who are more than their uniforms. 1 week later, Sophia Carter calls with an offer. Part-time teaching position, evenings and weekends, $45,000 a year. You can keep your day job while you transition. Elena says yes. Her first class is 12 students, ages 8 to 17. Dominican, Mexican, Puerto Rican, one kid from Ecuador. A 9-year-old girl raises her hand. Miss Elena, can you really make it as a dancer if you're not rich? Elena gives an honest answer. I don't know yet, but I know you can't make it if you don't try, and trying is free. The teaching income changes things. She negotiates down her medical debt, moves to a slightly larger apartment in Washington Heights. It has its own bathroom. That feels like luxury. She buys her first new shoes in 2 years. Not expensive, just new. On weekends, she dances socially again. A Malanga owner in Queens knew her father. Miguel's daughter, come dance here. No charge. Your father was family. She finds a community she didn't know she was missing. An older dancer named Roberto becomes her mentor, helps her rebuild what 19 years took away. As for Harrison Blackwell, consequences arrive quietly. The board strongly suggests that he step back from public events. For optics, he's forced to donate $100,000 to the Sophia Carter Foundation. His PR team calls it generosity. Everyone knows it's penance. His ex-wife, Maria, sees the video, texts him. Finally, someone showed you that grace has nothing to do with money. He doesn't respond, but he reads it 7 times. 3 months later, he appears at the back of one of Elena's classes. Doesn't announce himself. Watches for 30 minutes. Leaves before it ends. The next week, an anonymous $50,000 donation arrives at the foundation. Elena suspects, can't prove, doesn't try. People don't always change, but sometimes shame opens a door. Sometimes that's enough. 6 months after that night, Elena performs at a small showcase. 200 people in attendance. Students, co-workers, Sophia, community members. After she dances, the Dominican girl from her first class runs up. Miss Elena? I just got accepted to LaGuardia Arts, the dance program. Elena cries. Hugs her. You did that. All I did was show you it was possible. Later, backstage, Elena looks at herself in the mirror. Same face, different eyes. She didn't become rich, didn't become famous, didn't marry a CEO. But she became herself again. And that was worth more than any of it. This story isn't really about dancing. It's about the person you were before the world told you who you had to be. It's about dreams you shelved because they didn't pay bills, didn't fit expectations, didn't match the uniform you wear. Elena's talent wasn't hidden because she was lazy or afraid. It was hidden because survival demanded it, because medical debt doesn't care about your calling, because rent is due whether you're living your purpose or not, because society rewards conformity, not courage. But here's what Harrison Blackwell didn't understand. Underestimating someone isn't just cruel, it's stupid. The person serving your drinks, cleaning your floors, parking your car, they aren't defined by that moment. Their whole universes you're too arrogant to see. Talent is democratic. It shows up in projects, offices, delivery trucks, checkout counters. It doesn't wait for permission or pedigree. It just waits for a moment, a spark, A single chance to prove I'm still here. I never left. So here's my question for you. What's your tango? What's the thing you used to do, used to love, used to be, before life got in the way? Before you decided it was impractical, impossible, or too late? Maybe you painted. Maybe you wrote. Maybe you built things, sang, competed, created. Maybe you told yourself, I'm just a cashier now. I'm just a driver. I'm just a parent. That's not who I am anymore. But what if you're wrong? What if you're not just anything? What if the thing you're missing most is the person you were before you learned to shrink? If this story moved you, if you saw yourself in Elena, don't just scroll past. Hit subscribe, not for me. For the next person who needs to hear that their talent still matters, that their dream isn't dead, that it's never too late to put on those metaphorical red shoes and dance. This is the first story in our Hidden Brilliance series. True stories of ordinary people with extraordinary talents, waiting to be seen. Next week, a janitor at a tech company who wrote code that revolutionized their entire system. You won't want to miss it. Drop a comment. What's your hidden talent? What did you used to do that you gave up? Let's build a community of people who refuse to stay small. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, who's forgotten who they are, share this video, tag them, remind them it's not too late, it never is. Ever hit that bell. The next story drops in 7 days. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. Your worth was never up for debate.
At Black Voices Uncut, we don't polish away the pain or water down the message. We tell it like it is because the truth deserves nothing less. If today's story spoke to you, click like, join the conversation in the comments, and subscribe so you'll be here for the next Uncut Voice.